Applying what I'm going to teach you today will be the difference between hoping you'll be in the right state and knowing you're in the right state to close the sale. So that said, let's get into it. This is part number 4 of a $41,000 cash collected day breakdown sales training that I gave a bunch of our clients inside of Consulting Blueprint. And today we are going to continue on and cover the last 3 sections of the first part of the training here. So today we're going to be diving deep into some kind of higher level state management stuff. So like I said, it's the difference between hoping you'll be in the right state and knowing that you'll be in the right state. And state is everything when it comes to tonality, when it comes to body language, when it comes to actually leading the call and making the sale. So this is going to be a good one. So let's get straight into it. If you don't already know who I am, I'm Jeremy Pogue, and I help entrepreneurs that have online businesses make a ton of money. And I do that through business coaching. So let's get into it. So your war chant, getting in the zone by managing your state. And if you haven't already, this is part 4, like I said. Check out the other 3 parts as well. They are on the channel and should be in the playlist here too. But anyways, we must learn to trigger empowered states. And the 4 main ones that I got from The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort are certainty, clarity, confidence, and courage. The 4 C's, right? These are the state of mind that we want to embody, that we want to portray on the sales call as well. And in order to portray it, we need to first internalize it. So we need to, in ourselves internally, we need to trigger these states in our mindset before we get onto the call. So that way, when we get onto the call, we are portraying that we have absolute certainty in what we're selling. We have absolute clarity in our line of thinking. We have confidence in our abilities to help them, and we have courage to ask for the sale and whatnot as well, right? So these are extremely important, and here's how to trigger those. So honestly, it's the difference between hoping you'll be in the right state and knowing you'll be in the right state. That said, when it comes to mindset stuff and kind of state management, another point is like we choose what we focus on and what we think about, and that becomes the reality that we create, right? So our thoughts lead to our beliefs, which lead to our actions, which lead to our results, which then develop and influence our thoughts and restarts the cycle. So therefore, we need to uninstall limiting beliefs and thoughts and install empowering ones as a replacement. Because until we do that, then we're going to be stuck in that cycle. So in order to break through to the next level, we need to get our mind in the right place. So that's what we're going to be covering today. It's also very important to not judge the prospect to any degree before or during the call. I literally can't tell you guys how many times that I have made a sale after thinking there's no way in hell this person's qualified, there's no way this guy's going to buy from me, anything like that. And then all of a sudden I withhold those judgments and I maintain the direction of the call and go through it. And then all of a sudden they pay in full. Like literally a guy paid like $25,000 up front, and I totally prejudged. I thought there's no way this guy seemed like a good fit. Just from the form, and like it was just I let my judgments take over, and then all of a sudden he pays us 25 grand like on the call. It's like, whoa. So don't let yourself judge prospects by any means, because that will only do you harm. So that said, go into the call expecting to help them actually get clarity and sign them up, right? Think of it as an enrollment call rather than a sales call. So what I mean by that is like you have the leverage in this situation. By them getting on a call with you, that tells me that you have something that they need, right? They're on the call for a reason. They have a problem. So it's our job to identify it, explore it a little bit, and then prescribe a solution for it once we fully understand, right? Seek first to understand and then to be understood. So we need to really just take the approach that like, hey, this person has a problem, they're not where they want to get to, I can help them get there. And really just when you kind of in your mind kind of subconsciously assume that close, assume the sale, and that there's not going to be a lot of friction, then a lot of the times it goes that way. So anyways, unleashing the hounds, training our brains for success. Now this is kind of going off of like triggering empowered states and really how to get into that right state of mind. So I'm going to share with you guys a very simple yet extremely powerful way that I like to do this as well. So if you guys have heard of Pavlov's dog's experiment, essentially there's a starving dog. He brings out a juicy chunk of meat, and while he feeds the meat to the dog, he rings a bell. So then the dog starts salivating from the meat, and then the bell's also ringing, and then all of a sudden, after conditioning, after doing that a whole bunch of times, then all of a sudden the dog just starts to salivate just from the bell. They don't even bring out meat. They don't even have any meat in sight, and the dog just starts salivating from the bell alone. So that's what we want to kind of train our brains to do as well, but for getting in the right state of mind heading into a sales call, right? So what can we use as our bell to trigger ourselves to get into that right state of mind, to be on the ball, to be absolutely dialed in, and be in the right place, in the right state to be able to close that deal? So we do the same thing through a process called anchoring, right? The bell's the anchor, and then the act of ringing it is firing off the anchor. These two together are known as setting the anchor. So like once again, guys, this is from Way of the Wolf. It's a phenomenal book. I'd highly recommend it. But anyways, like let me give you guys an example. Like why do superheroes wear costumes? Because it helps them get in the zone, right? The costume itself is the anchor that shifts their identity from just a teenage kid that lives with his uncle, I think. I'll have to brush up on my Spider-Man knowledge here. But anyways, it transforms his identity from Peter Parker, just some no-name kid, to Spider-Man, a hero that saves lives, right? From Clark Kent, some nerd that works at a newspaper, to Superman, and Bruce Wayne to Batman, right? The second that costume comes on, they're an entirely different person. And they are absolutely in the zone. Nothing else matters. They're just dialed in. They're focused on saving people and pursuing their purpose, right? And that's exactly what we need to instill into our minds as well, right? We need that anchor. We need that superhero costume to really help us get triggered into being in that right state of mind and really embodying the identity of somebody who closes deals and is really successful. So that said, gearing up for battle, putting on your armor. The way that you dress for sales calls affects your body language and the way that you carry yourself. And body language is what influences your prospect's unconscious mind. So you probably could have guessed it. What can we use as our costume? Nice clothes. Dress nicely, right? Not only does it affect the way that the prospect perceives you subconsciously, but it affects the way that you carry yourself as well. So when I wore a dress shirt tucked in with nice pants on, even though I work from home and like there's no reason I need to be tucking my shirt in or anything like that, right? As opposed to shorts and a t-shirt, I noticed that after reviewing my sales calls and comparing them with previous ones, I carried myself much more professionally and with much more clarity in the words that I was saying and with much more confidence in how I would say them as well. So as a result, the frame was 100% mine. It was like absolutely unchallenged. And that was crystal clear right from the start. So to sum it up, look good, feel good, wheel good, right? But essentially at the end of the day, when you look good, that's when you feel good. So when you dress nicely, let me explain this topic a little bit in more detail. So there's kind of two sides to it. Based on what the prospect sees, like through the video call, they perceive you with higher status because of how you present yourself, right? People do judge a book by its cover. That's an absolute fact. So therefore, how can we use that to our advantage? Look the part, dress nicely, right? Dress like you're a successful person that can help them solve their problem. Why do doctors wear lab coats and stethoscopes around their necks? Because that's what we're primed to expect doctors to wear. So anytime we see somebody in that outfit, we automatically perceive them or like associate them with authority and credibility, right? And it's the same thing with this. Like people in suits, they immediately have authority and credibility. They're immediately like raised up higher in terms of status, right? And that's exactly what we want to establish here as well in the minds of our prospects. So that's kind of one half of it. But then the other half is, and honestly, I think the second half here has actually a lot more potency, which is like the way that you carry yourself because of how you feel about yourself and your own abilities, right? So I know for a fact, like when I'm rolling into a restaurant fully suited up with my buddies, like the confidence is sky high, like we're unstoppable. And that said, it's a completely different feeling than when it's like 2 in the morning and you got like a hoodie on and sweatpants and you're walking into like McDonald's or something like that, right? You don't feel like the man. So it's the exact same thing. Like I know I have literally closed deals in a t-shirt, shorts with new ski boots on under my desk, which I don't recommend doing. But nonetheless, they are much easier to make because I have a ton of more confidence and clarity and conviction in my tonality and the way that I present myself when I dress the part, when I look the part, and then that's when I actually play the part as well. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Don't take this lightly. Take this seriously because it will impact your closing rate. I know for a fact it did with mine, and like literally this one shift alone went from like probably like a 30 to 40% closing rate to like an 80 something literally the next day. I had like, my math might be off, but I had 8 calls that day. I closed 7 of them, and one of them was 25 grand. So that said, don't take this lightly because this stuff is powerful. It's not so much about the external stuff, it's more so about the internal, how to actually train our brains, get in the zone, manage our state, and close some deals. So that's it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe as well. Got some more bangers coming your way. This is wrapping up part 1, and I'll go into parts 2 and 3 as well in the next few weeks. So I'm super excited to do that. But if you guys got any questions as well, follow me over on Instagram or drop a comment below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.